Welcome to the Way Forward. I am Chanaka De Silva. This is the premier discussion program from Art TV. Today on our program, we have Indika Zoysa, Senior Consultant of ICT Agency Sri Lanka. Welcome to the show, Indika.
Welcome.
I am very adamant. I am a very adamant fan of computers and all technology, right, from a long time. So this is a very personal topic. Can you tell me today, after I actually originally looking at computers from 94, where are we in this computer and technology situation in the country?
Okay, so that's more of a broader question.
Yes.
So if we break it, which is we say you're talking in 20 years ago, which is we are looking at more of ICT,
Yeah.
or we are looking at becoming IT literate, or you are becoming more of using internet for basic things. But now times have changed. We have come to the digital era. So where the smartphones have come into the action, whereas 3G, 4G, we are talking about 5G coming into action. So world has changed, the usage models have changed. So basically if you want to look at or you want to find address, you just use the Google Maps. Basic,
Yes.
right? You don't call anybody and ask where's your address. You look for the shop name, you Google, you go there. Like that, or you want to find buy something or find a restaurant, you do that. You want to order food nowadays, you go to one of those apps, you order food, it's in your doorstep within no time. You put the credit card, get paid, charged, right? If you live abroad, somebody want to send a cake to your loved one, you send it from there. This is the local courier company will deliver the cake. So that's a world we are living in, right? Now, when you take specific cases as example, say, if you are a student, how it will impact my life? If you are a professional, if you are a doctor, how it will impact my life? If you are a citizen, if you are a farmer, how it will impact your life? So we need to really look at it from all those angles. So government and the private sector doing a lot of work on those things. So let's look at from a government point of view, which is ICT is a government agency,
Yes.
apex body, which is our duty is to make sure the digital adoption is happening in our country to get the next wave. So I will start on a bigger picture, which is we are looking at growing our exports as a nation.
Right.
Traditionally, we have the tea, then the garments add-on,
Yeah.
we have the tourism coming in. The fourth largest industry is the ICT exports. So right now we are at about $1.2 billion exports, and we have about earlier the estimation was 85,000 workforce. The workforce survey which is done by the ICT agency, which is estimated 2018, that's 125,000 people working in the industry.
Yeah.
And we have a very ambitious goal by 2022 to reach this goal to 5 billion.
Right.
In my opinion, it's very much doable. We are on a right path. Are we on is it easy? Not easy, because neighboring countries are competing with us to get this market share. And as I said, we have about 125,000 workforce, which is we can grow up to about 200,000 workforce when you reach the $5 billion goal. So one question is like, okay, we have a bit of a situation on the skilled workforce supply.
Yes, the shortage of graduates.
Shortage of graduate for jobs which is required.
Yes.
So right now the estimation which is about, we produce about 12,000 graduates a year, but right now we need about close to 20 plus or 21,000 graduates. We have a roughly about 10 plus thousand shortage.
Sure.
So we have to make sure we bridge that.
Yes.
And which is our faculties need to get or produce more IT graduates. The private sector, the universities, which is the degree awarding and non-degree awarding institutes, need to produce more of them, because this is a wave which is capturing. And if he doesn't get the skilled workforce,
Yes.
and will be not able to deliver the products what this organization needs.
Now I have to interrupt you at that one point. Now, since we need so many graduates to achieve this target, and we don't have them now, is there an opening to import these people?
So, I mean, there are certain skills we need to bring it in.
Right.
I don't think we need to bring it in bulk and
Right.
try to fill that gap. I don't think we should, or as a nation, we should look at it. There are specific skills which is we don't have, we need to bring in.
Those ones are, in any field you get that.
Acquire that, and we can send our people to get, but we need the numbers coming in. So now, few years ago, which is the technology stream was introduced to the school system,
Right.
and now they have these kids are getting graduated. Like that, the pipeline is getting ready, right? And at the NVQ level, at the skills ministry or the vocational level, now the courses are getting refined. Now sometimes there's a mismatch between what you produce versus what market needs. Even the same workforce survey which shows what are the future job trends.
Right.
What is needed. So now, I mean, this is a very evolving industry, right?
Yes.
So you have coders today, that coders what we need is tomorrow is different. And it's going into artificial intelligence, to cloud computing, to many other areas, right? So we need to look at these trend lines and accordingly we need to produce. Now say now somebody gets to uni this year, 4 years down the line when you get out of that university, does the person have the right skill set to fulfill the demand of that?
At that time.
So we have there's studies shows like, even the school children who's in schools today need to get ready for a job. The job is not created yet. Or the problem what that kid going to solve when they go into the society or the job, that problem is not there. So you need to get into a job which is not there and you are going to solve a problem which doesn't exist.
Right.
So that's a skill we need to produce. So that's all about the STEM education, all that coming into the system.
Right. Now that gave a impression of that is the education and the requirement from the job point of view. But I would like to know now, when you take a company, private companies, now computers are no longer uncommon, homes have it. What is the percentage of penetration of computers and their use in day-to-day aspects in this country?
So when you look at overall, specifically in the private sector, I think digitization happened to a great extent, right? Especially when you look at banks. We have very much digital wallets to internet banking to, hardly most of us actually go to a bank counter and do transactions, which is we do most of the things remotely. And digital wallets are coming in, right? Fintech is a new segment which is born, and you have a lot of digital wallets are basically getting into the system. Non-banking companies also getting into the business, and banks actually. These are areas, and e-commerce has grown quite big, but number of usage is not, not that great, but e-commerce is one segment has grown. And also when you look at tourism sector, like you have online platforms which is coming in, and a lot of boutique hotels and the things have grown. So digitization has happened, and also from a government point of view, they have created that legislation, and also the larger telcos has taken the responsibility of taking fiber into the home. Technology has been taken to the grassroots levels. I think, when you look at the phone penetration, we have about 25 million phones, which is using 60% of roughly about smartphones out of that. And I think we have a very decent percentage, penetration on technology into rural as well as using. Organization can go digital, but your customer is not digital. Or with no access, there's no point. But I think we have a decent penetration. Plus, organizations are getting, or they are offering more and more services using digital channels. And also you can see a lot of communication nowadays, right? It's more social media based. Digital communication or digital marketing is, most of the organization will look at. Few years ago, that digital marketing manager didn't exist. In modern day, that's one of the key positions in any organization. The CIO is one of key positions in the organization, or a CTO is one of the key positions. So you can see that transformation has happened, taken over, and private sector actually is taking a lead. I'm talking about this IT usage, not IT companies. These are companies
the usage of it.
Usage. And also in the workforce survey, what I was talking about gave a clear indication that number of people working in the IT departments have reduced. So that's a global trend. Why? Say
everybody is using IT.
No, you are not using. You doesn't have to keep your own servers. You transfer it to the cloud. Services are getting outsourced because there are specialized people on there. So you doesn't need that guy who maintain your server. Person is not required because everything is in the cloud, and you get all the analytics out of that, and you make decisions out of that. So that structurally things are getting changed, and adoption is definitely happening, and people are making use of these modern tools and giving a better service to their customers.
So what you mean is now that people are more digitally literate. As a result, companies also say whether they used to have whole computer departments. DP managers, technical guys.
Now you don't have to worry
about
all
those. Right?
So, specialist companies who give those services.
Those services. So, it's got outsourced and got cheaper and more efficient.
More efficient, exactly.
And because now when someone outsources, others outsource.
Exactly.
And there are better products for you to choose from.
Exactly.
Rather than try to develop something in-house like those
Exactly.
days. Right. Now, the other thing is I would look at the usage of computers and say ICT in like health services, schools. What is the situation now in the country?
So, there is a good trend on that. I'll start with the education. So, the point I made was like, you know, to create the kids for the future needs, right, which is we call the future jobs. So, digital is becoming enable or technology is enabler. That doesn't mean that computers can do magic. So, teachers has to do the teaching and that transformation need to happen, but technology will become enabler. So, I look at in 5 pillars we call it. So, you need to have the devices, that's a computer, which is a screen what you need, right. And in my opinion, that's the easiest thing. You have money, it's in the shop, you can buy it. Then you need to have connectivity going in. So, that broadband connectivity need to go to schools and all that. Then we need to have the content. So, that's one of the critical thing, because I mean most of the schools are teaching in Sinhala and Tamil. So, English content is available, but we need to have the Sinhala and Tamil content. So, Education Ministry has done a good job of building content. There is a e-Taksala, that's a content repository which is we have within the Ministry of Education. So, content is built up to a good level, and then the teachers need to be trained. So, now we have teachers who know to teach using the blackboard and the chalk or traditional way with the textbook. Now, that same teacher need to use the new tools. That means technology has to be used as tool and teach. So, now it's like, say we are teaching about a volcano. So, how do you show or how do you get a kid to visualize or understand how the eruption happens? Because in our country we don't have it. So, unless they have seen it in TV. Now, these the methodologies, like what you call the technical aspect of it, right? Chemistry of it, teacher need to explain. Now, blackboard and the chalk is very difficult to do that, or the textbook is very difficult. But now with this on using technology, you can do that in a very systematic manner, very innovative way.
You can show
all that. Or you want to do show the blood circulation in the heart. Earlier, what you and I learned was like you have a black and white picture in a textbook, right? In the modern day, you can see it in TV. But there, you can teach it. Like you can cut it, change it, turn it, whatever.
You have interactive tools.
But the teacher need to know how to use it and teach it. So that's the art, right? That need to be taught. They know they are the subject experts. They know the subject. But using technology and teaching is a different way. So, they need to be trained on that. I think that Ministry of Education together with ICT is involved, even the digital ministry is involved. That work is happening on it. So, now kids will be able to grab easier, right? And they will be able to remember better, and they will be able to articulate better. Even their assignments will be done in different ways rather than the copy pasting things like the older way. And they can attach these things and they can explain better, make it more present. I mean, the presentations, it's not you are giving a paper, it's like you can go and present, right? So, all that is being embedded into the.
No, that's true. That shows, I know, I have seen that because now children are more with being digitally enabled. They know how to source things through the internet. Now, going on to slightly another topic about the health services. Now, that's another thing this country is really suffering with, the numbers and the hospitals, right? I think our service is good, but the handling of it. How can ICT
So, that actually we have done, in my opinion, probably I can call it one of the most successful products even ICT here together with Health Ministry has done. So, now as a typical example, you visualize, you want to go to the government hospital. What do you do? You need to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, you have to go there, stand in the queue, get that OPD number and seated there for like hours and hours, and like then you see the doctor and you need to bring that clinic book, alright, all you see those, everybody is carrying it. If you miss places, again you take all the reports and sometimes you go and they will say, oh, you run out of medicine, and sometimes they can't read the prescription. These are challenges we have seen, right?
Okay, we'll be going in for a short break now from the way forward. We'll be back again discussing the situation of the ICT adaptation into the health sector with Indika Zoysa. Welcome back to the way forward. After the break, we were discussing ICT adaptation at the health facilities of this country with Mr. Indika Zoysa. Indika, you were talking about how the health situation, especially for the government health services, has been adapting this digitalization process. What stage is it in now?
Okay, so I explained the old method, right?
Yes.
Just before the break, and now somebody wants to go to the hospital. What do? You pick up the phone and using the regular e-channeling methodology, you book the doctor.
Yes.
So you go, you get a time. You say 9:30. You go to the hospital, and you are given a card with a barcode. Actually, the doctor will scan the barcode. Your history is there. You don't have to carry that book anymore, and you have all the history of that, and doctor will check all that. Doctor will enter the information, and doctor will prescribe that in the system. So that's a HHIMS. That's a system which is ICT has built together with the Ministry of Health, and that will capture all the data, and it will enter. And now what you go do? You have to go and pick up your medicine, right? You go. You don't have to. Doctor won't give you written. It is in the system. You go and give the barcode to the pharmacist. Pharmacist will give you all the packs. No paper, nothing, and it's exactly counted, and the medicine inventory is there, and doctor can see what is available. If there's any product is out of stock, doctor can see, he can write alternate rather than you go up and forth. So entire system is linked, right? And you go 9:30, you do all that, less than hour or so you're out with medicine, everything, right? And your X-rays are used digitally right now. So we save about in a medium-sized hospital about 3.5 million to 4 million rupees of
cost for the films
and all that, because we are using digitally, and the pharmaceutical items or the medicine is actually inventory is digital, so you don't get things expired. So also, like say you have something running short, you can check in the neighboring hospitals whether that is available. You can get it to your hospital, do that transactions, or even ICU beds people can check. All right, ICU beds people can check, and if you are running short of ICU beds, they can transfer it to a neighboring hospital. So all those facilities are available, and we have about close upon 3.7 million health records, which is we have digitized about 40 hospitals, and also we have digitized the police hospital, and we just signed the memorandum of understanding with the Navy hospital to implement the system. So these hospitals are also taking in, and it is expanding. And this is actually getting a huge transformation on the health sector, reducing cost, and saving time for patients, quality, saving time for doctors. So entire ecosystem is getting benefited out of that.
Very good. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, I think I have to be the devil's advocate. This here, what is still lacking? Now, we have seen countries which have fantastic health systems, right? And that actually in the end, even education systems and other things, which translates into making people's life easier.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, in the end, that's what it should do.
Yes.
Right? Computers must be helping us, right? So, can you tell me, in the education system now, what is not there and what should we bring?
Okay, so when you look at mid-80s or even before, we are on mid-90s on our literacy. So nowadays it's an invalid indicator. What is measured is a digital literacy.
Right.
So as a nation, we are in mid-30s right now. So we're looking at reaching up to 70% by another 5 years.
Right.
So now how do you do that? What needed to be done? And the workforce, what is coming in as a modern job, need to align. Otherwise, we'll have so many traffic blocks in the road if it doesn't produce the right skill set. Right. Now, education ministry and higher education ministry is doing this transformation. Digital adoption is happening. Yes, of course, is it happening on the right speed?
That is the question.
That's a question mark. But now we need to understand our system is relative to compared to mature markets is little different, because we have a free education system.
Yes.
And government need to do these investments, and it's costing a lot of money, and you have to do periodic manner. And over the last 15 years or so, even little longer, digitization is happening periodically. We have come long ways, and we have had the shared access model where the computer labs going in, internet going into the schools, content is built up. So we have done the basic line.
Yes.
Right. Now we need to leapfrog, we need to scale it up. Now they are talking about the A-level students getting devices to their hand, which is one-on-one computing. That's the more high end. So that is moving in. Grade 6 to grade 11 content or content is syllabus have changed. So these things has been happening. And also one of the things I couldn't talk about is the fifth pillar what I was talking about, creating maker spaces or creating innovation among school kids.
Right.
So you need to, like, it's not traditional education anymore. Like, in our age or our school system, we went to the science lab. Then we had the computer lab. So what's the new thing? It's a maker space. Now when you look at mature markets, in the schools you get something called a maker space.
Okay.
You go with idea. You will be able to make a product or a service out of that. You have 3D printing and microbeads and Raspberry Pis and all that.
Yes.
Kids will be able to use those gadgets and make solutions. So it can be a problem which is probably in your village or in your house or something. You will see the problem and you create a solution using that.
So that means they will be equipped with the tools.
They will be equipped with the tools.
The new ICT enabled tools. So they have to only use to solve their
problems using that. They learn and collaborate till they can get together as a team, or they as individually they can find solutions, and these kind of solutions can go nationwide or it can become global giants. I mean, that's how, look at the great examples of Facebook or Apples of the world. When you look at the history of that, that's how
started with
small groups in your garage or backyard or in your university room, right? This is how. So this is the modern way of creating them think, be innovative and work collaborative learning. So now, say, typical classroom is you have, like, rows like this, you are looking at the blackboard, right? Modern day it's not like that. Even seating is like as a group. So that you learn as a group, you learn collaboratively, you exchange. So these technique has to basically get adapted.
Right.
And it is happening. It is happening. And it is going in the right direction. And also from a government point of view, the right policies. Now, as example, ICTA together with the Digital Ministry is working on the Data Protection Act. Like that, these things are actually coming in from back end. Those enablers has to come. All that is getting formulated as well.
Yeah. Now, one thing that was really aroused my curiosity, on the web I saw how they have remote classrooms. Now, in India, I think they use it very much. They have this digital teacher who links up with broadband. I don't think we are that big or that remote here yet, but certainly children can be taught remotely.
Definitely,
and,
yes.
Stop at least the, I think the 2-year-olds to 6-year-olds being pushed into a class and, the creating the traffic jams, parents, cost, food, health problems. There are thousands of problems, right? Why has that not been adapted yet?
So it is there. It is there. So as I said, we have a e-learning, the content repository, right? So ministry is actually on the final stages. There, the learning management system is already built, so it will be out very soon. So as example, we say I'm weak on we say science. So during the holidays, I can go to the learning portal. I can, the curriculum which is available there. You have the learning material. Right, and it will allow you, now say I'm weak on one particular area, I can go and read that. Material is there, the PowerPoint, there's a e-books are there.
Right.
So after, like, after the end of it, you can test your learning. There are a few questions. Right, you answer those questions and check whether you know it.
Yes.
All right. Ideally, like, in the modern world, we say, like, say you have 10 questions, you answer it, and say digital system will analyze which area you work, and system will tell you go and read those paras and understand more. So that's the system.
So that it will prompt you where to look for it.
Exactly. It will, say you answer 10 questions, you get 5 right, 5 wrong. System will identify what are the 5 areas you are weak at.
And then it will direct you to pick it up.
Yeah.
So that will be like you are having your own private tutor at home.
Exactly. So that's the world we are heading in, and those things has been looked at, and we will have those. Some of the things are already available. The rest of things are actually coming in. So we have the some of the grade 9 science, if I'm not mistaken, which is we have the smart book, and there's another 9 smart books has already in the build.
Okay.
So these things are actually coming into the system.
So actually, we all are starting from the top, not from the bottom.
Actually, we are starting like bottom top.
Both.
Yeah, because say we need to leapfrog.
Right.
We can't wait until
Till the process builds up.
yeah. So I mean, when you look at some of the medias, you see people are saying, "Oh, you are doing digitization. There are schools without toilets." You can't wait until the toilets are made and digitization happen. All this has to happen parallelly, right? I don't think we look at, we have 10,000 schools in the country. Almost all these 10,000 schools has decent infrastructure. I mean, it can be variance,
Yes, of course.
obviously, but we have decent.
Generally okay.
Yeah, and we are doing the transformation. If you wait until all this is being made, we are gone. We have to get this adaptation done, and our next generation will be equipped to face the new challenges.
So that is very good. That is a good future, I think, to look forward to. Thank you very much, Indika. I think you gave a lot of information and I also hope to see, I mean, because when people say ICT, what is it? Where is it going to impact? I don't think very many people know exactly where we are going, but you have certainly given hope. So it's goodbye now. We will meet again perhaps at another show when you have we'll say a more updated version, right? I would like to discuss on figures of how things can go forward in the income of ICT exports and things like that. So goodbye for now.
Thank you for inviting, and it's a great pleasure being in the program, and definitely we'll have a lot of updates and hope to see you soon again.
This brings us to the end of today's The Way Forward. We discuss ICT adoption with Indika Zoysa, senior consultant. We were very happy that there was a lot of hope in this field that we could look forward to, because the way the world is going is with ICT, and I think we are a part of it, and we have a lot of things waiting, good things waiting to happen. Thank you.